And we here once again. Back in CT. It's a lot been my thoughts have kind of been not everywhere, but everywhere. I wanted to dive in on the topic first off of success, feeling successful. I wrote something. It's like, it's not going to feel like what you thought it would feel like, because along the journey it costs so much to get there. That success doesn't feel successful anymore. Like, I think it's very interesting how along your journey, or whatever the journey is that you're taking, I got to a point of that, right? And it was just, it's just you give so much. Like, people never see the background of what it is. People just see the result, right? So it's just like, I even remember like being played on the radio. Shout out to Tone, playing me on Hot 97. But I remember talking to my guy S, and one of the first things we said was just like, okay, like, and it was not in a sense of being ungrateful, but it was just like the realization of like, man, we did a lot. Like, yeah, we been shoulda on the radio. Like, it's been shoulda. But yeah, so I think everybody has their own definition of success and everything, and I think just properly defining it. Because if you think success is the end result, I believe you'll be disappointed every time. Right? Success is the things that you accomplish throughout the journey. And I sound like a broken record because I'm constantly saying this, but I'm constantly trying to understand it. Because a lot of people are quick to say, yeah, I love the journey. I want the journey, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But are you really, though? Are you really? So that was something that I've been pondering on. Right? That was something interesting that I've been pondering on. What else? Real life. Finding what matters, right? And being at peace alone. I think that's the biggest thing. Being at peace alone. I think a lot of people struggle with that. I think a lot of people struggle with being alone, period. Right? And I'm not promoting being in isolation or anything. But I'm just saying, if you find yourself there, embrace that. Right? Understand that there's seasons for everything. And everything's there, it comes in cycles. Right? Peaks, valleys. Right? So it's just like, again, I go back to enjoying every part of the process, because no one part of the process is ultimate joy. Like, you have to find joy in every part of the process. You know what I mean? Like, I was doing a study on economics a couple months ago, And I found it interesting on how like they were breaking things down on like basically the average American family. How you start off at a point, they picked up off where you were married and you're about to start a family, and then you acquire all these things. You acquire a house, you acquire car payments, you acquire stuff for the house, all of that. So it's like a cycle. And then you're at the top of the peak where it's just like you feel like you have everything, but it's really all on credit. And so you're at the top of the peak where it's just like you feel like you're feeling good and you feel like yes, but then the circle continues because reality sets in, and then you got to start working to pay the payments, and you got to start working to pay that car, working to pay the house, working to pay off the utilities you put on to whatever. And it's just like, so then you come right back down, and then you feel like you have nothing, and you feel like you're just working to pay bills. It feels like you're working just to pay bills. And then you go back on that cycle where you start paying things off, and then you start to acquire more money. And then it's with the car, it's 5 years later, and I want a new car again. And you do it all over again. Cycles. Right? And I thought that was just very interesting in a sense of like, I think that's for everything, right? In life, it's like everything comes in cycles. And I was talking to one of my guys, and we're talking about I was telling him what's been on my mind in the sense of I started thinking, like, does it ever stop? In the sense of, do I have to continue, do I have to continue to, will I constantly have to do something I don't want to do in order for the future to be somewhere that I want to be? Is that a cycle? Like, because at times I feel like I'm fighting for that to end so I can just be where I want to be and be doing what I want to do. But I find it interesting how I'm constantly in a position where it's just like, yep, okay, you can have this, but in order to have this, now you're gonna have to do what you don't want to do to push this, or to whatever the case may be, to sacrifice for that or whatever. Like, it's always a give and take. And we were just talking about it, like, will it ever really stop? Because it's just like every level, it's just you're constantly giving this for that. And that was enlightening to me, because I'm just trying, do I have that answer of whether it stops? I don't know. I don't think it does. And I don't necessarily want to say that, because that's not motivating to me. Well, it is and it isn't, but it's just that state of bliss that I feel like we're all looking for. Perfect. Retirement, and I won't have to work. I won't have to, like, it's always going to be something. That's what I just keep realizing. It's just like, it's always going to be something, though. It's no set that plateau where you just stay at success. I don't think it doesn't exist. I don't believe it exists. I believe it's a cycle. I believe you work up to where you want, blah, blah, blah. You get what you want. And then at that point, you're a creature. So you're going to start being, okay, what else? Like, now you always constantly trying to go to the next level. And when you got to go to the next level, you kind of start back down from here. You're kind of a nobody again. You kind of got to humble yourself again to learn. And then the cycle continues. So that's why I think it's very important to enjoy every moment of the process, because you're not meant to live on the top of the mountain, right? You're not meant to live at the peak. That's not how it was set up, right? Think about it. Classic retirement. You get older people, when they don't have nothing to do, they don't got nothing to fight for, how long do they actually live for? Like, it's like you constantly need something to be fighting for. You constantly need something to be pushing towards, striving for. And I think that's, with the information I know at this point, that's made me who I am to that point. That is my assessment of what that looks like. I may be wrong, like I don't claim to have all the answers. That's my perspective on how it actually looks right now. Right? And then understanding, like, it's funny how simple, not easy, how simple it is to achieve things, though. Very simple. Very simple. A lot of doing the same thing over and over and over again. Not that flashy. Like my life in the last couple of months, not that flashy. Because at the core of it, I'm merely doing the same thing over and over and over again when it comes to reading, studying, trying to grow in different things, different areas in my life. And it's just like, people won't see the results of your work, of what you're doing on your downtime in the immediate, right? I'm not where I am today because of what I did yesterday. I am where I am today because of what I did last year, right? I'm a combination of all of those times that I got up on time and didn't choose to get up on time, and went to the gym and didn't go to the gym. Like, I'm a result of all of those things that I chose to read, or that I chose to be in the studio, or that I chose to, whatever it is, I'm a combination of all of those things. So it's just like, we won't know what I've been up to for the next couple of months, a year. Like, when the things that I've been learning actually seep in and like start to form, and I'm thrusted into life and have to apply what I've learned, right? And I'm constantly trying to apply currently, but it's just like, don't ever work for people. Like, don't work for people anyway. Like, don't work for the recognition of others. Do it for yourself. But even understand, like, they ain't gonna see it, like, down the line. Y'all see down the line. It's a long-term game. That's how I've always played it. And it's just like, what you're doing today isn't because of what you did yesterday. It's because of the combination of things that led you up to that point. So it's what you've been doing for the last 6 months, 8 months, 2 years. Like, all of that build up. That's why you are where you are right now. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I think it's, like I said, I think success is simple. It's not flashy. It's not like, it's not like the peak part where you're at the mountain and everybody finally sees the culmination of all the work that you've been doing, that part of it. But for how long? Like, you know what I mean? You may be at your mountain for it never feels like you're at your peak as long as you were for it took you to, you know what I mean, put the work in. And I just think that's an interesting, that's very interesting. But I think people need to understand that, and because like I said, I think a lot of people fight to stay there, not understanding that you weren't meant to live there. It's a circle. You're meant to go up and down, up and down, up and down. Everything ain't meant to be perfect all the time. And nothing is like, that's another thing. Nothing is not even perfect, but nothing ever really comes out. Like, even the concept of how we think things are supposed to turn out. Who are we? Like, I understand, like, we can have a desire for things to go a certain type of way, but to be upset when things don't go the way you thought they would, I'm starting to realize, like, for me, I'm starting to realize how silly that is. Who told you had control over it in the first place? Like, really think about it. Who told you had control over it in the first place? So what are you actually upset about? Because you thought it should be this way? That's cute. That's nice. Like, who told you had control over that? Like your job is to play the cards that you've been dealt. Like, that's it. And I feel like the sooner you can understand that, the more that you can achieve. Like, and like I said, I'm still trying to learn that. Like, even down to little things. Like, I stopped watching sports a little while ago, like, actively. Like, I retired with Kobe. But what I realized is that it's because I used to get so caught up in it. And I used to be like, why? Like, why am I getting... These guys, win or lose, they still making millions of dollars a year. How does this affect my life? Right? So the other day I'm watching the game, and I'm rooting for Golden State. Just no real deep attachments to it. Just I wanted to see those guys win. But, like, I started getting back, like, really into it. And I had to stop myself and be like, why am I, like, I understand, like, you can root for somebody. I understand you want somebody to win. But I just start getting deep. Like, I'm weird. Like, I start to overanalyze everything. And I'm just like, why do I want them to win? Like, okay, because I like some of the players, or I don't like the attitudes of other players, like Chris Paul. I love Chris Paul as a player, but when he starts playing and he's playing against you, he get, like, his facial expressions, the arrogance gets to me, right? So it's just like, I want them to beat him. But it's just like, so I get so caught up in it until you realize, like, I can want them to win all I want. I wasn't out there putting time in the gym. I can't influence whether or not they make a shot or not. So how vested can I really be? Like, oh, you should have made that shot. You're going to feel like they should have made every shot. That's why you get paid for it. You're going to feel like you not in the gym doing what they doing. Like, you sit there and you get to live with whatever the result is. You haven't put any work towards them. Let them boys do what they got to do. Like, it's just like, you have no control over that. How are you going to sit there and be like, your want is merely a want? Like, and I think we do that in life. I think we just shoot things out like, I want them to win. Oh, they got to win the championship. I want them to win a championship. Just because you want them to win a championship don't mean they're going to win a championship. Just like in life, just because you want your life to go a certain way don't mean it's going to go that way. Like, you got no, like, you control what you can control, right? Control what you can control, but then you got to live with the result. So it's just like in sports, for me, I had to realize, like, I'm like, I can't, I think that's why I'm not thrilled with, like, watching sports and everything. Like, watching sports, cool, I get it. It's escapism, it's everything, it's cool. But for me personally, as a competitor, it's just like, to be able to sit there and feel like there's nothing I can do to influence this game. I want out. Like, I want to be, I have to try to just enjoy it as a spectator. You know what I mean? But just understanding, control what you can control, and your results are your results. But I think when you start understanding that there's certain things you cannot control, you actually become more in control, because you start to really hone in on the things that you can control. So that's where I'm going to leave it for now. Eat it. Eat it. Eat it.